Hey guys, welcome back to the Chinaman podcast. The one-day international series between Australia and India has just finished, and it went Australia's way 2-1. The last game was very tight. Could have gone either way in the last maybe 5-10 overs, but India came away with a lucky win, in my opinion. So we're just going to review that series, and then later on we're going to talk about the T20s. So after watching the series, what did you guys think about the ODI series? Was the result kind of what everyone was expecting, or did certain things happen that we didn't really expect?
I'll say I didn't expect India's bowling to be that terrible, really, especially for the first two games. I understand it was a fairly flat pitch and so on, but I was surprised by just how it wasn't close whatsoever. I thought the first two games were just a pathetic performance from India, pretty much. The third game I expected to have three games sort of like that, and I thought India would win the series. And I think if it was three close games, India would win the series because they are a better clutch team than Australia. But yeah, India just were a bit disappointing, I think.
Yeah, I anticipated a very high scoring series, but I don't think you ever expect like 380, 390. And I think once that happens, it kills the game. You can't really look at India's batting in that situation. The bowling, I don't think anyone
To be
ever.
honest, I didn't think India bowled that badly. In all honesty, I think Australia just.
I don't think
I think it was just the pitch was just really flat and a really good deck, and Australia's batting lineup is just they're seeing the ball really well. So yeah, I didn't think India bowled that badly. I just think Australia set up the game really well. Like we talked about in the last video about Finch and Warner and Smith being the pivotal part of setting up Australia's innings, and they really showed that this series.
I mean, you say that, but the way Hazelwood and Cummins had their plans and
Yep.
the way
I feel like Rohit. That's what I mean. I feel like Rohit Sharma would have made a huge difference to the series.
I think they knew what they were doing. It's the way they attacked Shreyas Iyer as well. Like they had plans for everything, and India looked a bit, deer in the headlights, sort of like once Bumrah or Shami don't get wickets at the top, they have to go into panic mode, and they didn't have a backup plan. The only backup was Pandya bowling, and he wasn't that bad, to be fair.
I disagree about Rohit Sharma. That's not going to stop us hitting 374 and then 389.
No, we would have lost, but it would have been close. No, India would have lost, not we would have lost.
Yeah,
India would have lost.
the bowling was the problem.
Nevertheless, but it would have been a lot closer. I feel like every game India lost maybe one or two to three wickets in a power play.
If in the second game Rohit Sharma scores a big 100, maybe India have a chance, but that's a huge if. I don't think you could say anything about Rohit not being there.
Well, it does make a huge difference if you lose max one wicket in the power play. Australia showed that.
Agarwal and Dolan had to bat like that. They had to.
Not necessarily. You just have to match Finch and Warner. And Agarwal got out in the 20s.
I think if you bat second, you can't bat like that, because then hypothetically they'd still need the 12s and 13s at the end. It's so much harder to do when you're.
Like you said, have to have a backdoor performance, or even a Smith century. Even Coley wasn't that good as as Smith was playing. I just don't think I don't think you can be too kind on the bowling, no matter what the conditions are. If they scoring the two highest scores Australia have ever scored against India in one day, were both in the first two games. It's you can't really excuse that bowling, no matter what. If India want to call themselves one of the top three teams or top two teams in the world, they're just not showing it. They can't compete with Australia and England because other teams, we've got a great batting lineup and everyone knows that, and so do England.
To be fair though, in my opinion, only Hazelwood and Zampa bowled really well. Stark and Collins weren't really there.
Yeah.
So
there's two more bowlers bowling well than India had.
Yeah.
So.
But that's what I'm saying. It was largely down to the batting rather than the poor bowling.
Think about India. They're struggling if Chahal or Kuldeep are struggling. The way they perform is very, very important for India. The crucial away victories, in South Africa, England, wherever, is usually because one of them does really well. And the way they do well is if the quicks get wickets at the top. Because if you need them to consolidate. It's too much.
It's
And
kind of weird because you'd expect like bowlers like Chahal and Kuldeep, they've been doing it for years, like controlling the middle overs, but that's where but the run rate actually went up because of Smith. So
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting.
yeah, I think
That's
I reckon this might be a big statement, but I think that's the best Smith's ever batted.
Pretty much.
in ODIs,
In
yeah,
one
for sure.
day, yes, I
Yeah,
completely agree.
ODIs for sure.
I mean, what the equivalent of the way he batted in one day is what if he gets like triple hundreds in tests.
Yeah.
Like 100 of
Yeah.
60, you just never ever
It's
expect that
crazy.
2 times in a row. Not Kohli has done it like once in his career.
Yeah.
No one else.
The thing is, he didn't even look like he was going to get out, like at all, until he obviously got past 100.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like it was just 100 of 60 without giving him a chance.
Yeah.
And the third game was like the luckiest wicket ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think Smith showed this game that he's a better batsman than Kohli in one days at the moment, and I think he's also a better batsman than Kohli in tests at the moment. And I think that's going to get it's not going to get shown because Kohli's only playing one test. But
We'll get shown over the first test.
The thing is, this series is like the new Kohli. I'd say like gets 50s, but he can't get 100. Like he hasn't got 100 in so long. I can't
Isn't it the
remember
first calendar year since 2008 where he hasn't scored
the
a
last
ton
2 years. Kohli's got so
one-
many 80s and
in
90s
ODIs? Yeah.
in ODIs, and it's just you'd say that's so unlike him. Is it the start of the decline for Kohli?
he'll probably get a century in Adelaide, and it'll be his one for the year.
Yeah, I reckon that's still a big ask, but I wouldn't be surprised considering he loves Adelaide.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
So should we talk about our predictions for the one day series?
So
I'll
I
start.
think you guys predicted India 2-1,
Yeah.
which like everyone knew that it could have gone either way.
Yeah,
I
Ryan
think
was
that's a
closer than us because it was pretty much almost 3-0, but wasn't for that one big batting partnership by India.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, this is a big if, but if India wins the toss, and especially in the second game, like it could be a different game.
Yeah.
Obviously, his
But
bat.
if India, do you reckon India would have won? Well,
Well,
like you can't say that
we don't
if they
know.
batted
We don't know
first.
because
But
it's
Australia outplayed them in all
get
three.
100 of 60 chasing. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
But
Yes, India did get a chance to bat first, and it was it wasn't.
They
ended
were
up
very
being
ropey,
alright,
yeah.
but Canberra was completely different from the Sydney conditions. The ball.
I think it was similar to the
No,
Friday.
it was pretty similar. It looked like a road to me, bro.
It was similar to the Friday, I would
They
argue.
say, but they always say before Agar's performance, spinners had only got like averaging 80 or something like that.
Yeah, Agar and Zampa
Yeah.
bowled fantastically in Canberra. That was the big difference. Like that's how it was different to Friday.
Like he scored 340 in the second game, and that was even with like collapse at the end, like the last 3 overs because they already gave up. I think.
But they never looked like they were going to do it like at any point in those two games. So like it's no matter how much they got, like it just doesn't mean that much.
And the second, I don't. They never look like it, but if like the way they were batting was not bad, I reckon. Like Pandya, Rahul, Kohli. That's a huge if, but like if Kohli stays longer. To be fair, those 2 catches were just amazing. Like if it was the other way around, I don't expect India to take those 2 catches, Enriquez and Smith.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, true.
And
I mean, you say you like the way they go about it, but in some ways I disagree. I think Rahul, in some ways, that was quite a disappointing innings in the second game. He went pretty much at a run a ball and scored 75. Like that's not what they needed in that chase.
I mean, he
Rahul's
scored
Yeah, like his stand, like when we were watching, I was like, yeah, he's really struggling here. Like he wouldn't be impressed with that performance.
like Rahul's being quoted as the number 5, as
Same with Hardik as well. There was like those overs of
like he's meant to be a huge difference and be able to score fast for the number 5 position. He showed he couldn't do it on a road.
I think that's
His
amazing. Strike rotation. Rahul hit like 5 sixes and a few.
Yeah, he couldn't rotate the strike at all.
There's 50 other balls. If you take away those balls, he only scored like 30 runs.
Yep.
And all of his singles were just hitting it on the offside. Like he just couldn't rotate. But I think it's just weird for like if you take away that chase, I think they'd bat very differently. Like I remember the 41st over, Cummins bowled a maiden to Pandya. Like how did it even happen?
Yeah.
Like I think that once you see the run rate, you're just premeditating. But if it's a normal, like Maxwell, the way he bats, he doesn't. You don't think he premeditates, even though he hits it like behind the keeper or whatever.
Yeah, that's why I think, like, going back to your point, Arjun, about having clear plans. Like, it's been pretty obvious for a while that Hardik wants people bowling at his stomps so he can hit it over mid wicket, hit it over long on.
Yeah.
Cummins bowling the slower, like wider balls, like takes that out of his strike zone.
Pandya,
And Maxwell has like
experience.
all the shots, so he knows that, like, based on the field where the bowler's going to bowl, and he's got all the shots to counter that. Like, Hardik's got the one shot, really, two shots, like one swing over cover, like swing over long on.
Or did you see a 6 against Abbott?
Yeah,
I was gonna say, even though Pandya had a great series and obviously the biggest positive for India, I think he still has a long way to go. Still, like I think he can bat even better in terms of shot selection.
Yeah, he scored runs this series, which has surprised me in some ways. But I think the big difference between the two innings in both of the first two games, like India got the runs that Warner and Finch were getting. They had the big partnerships they needed, and they also got the runs at the end, like Maxwell in some ways, because Pandya and Jadeja would go big. But they missed that Smith innings. They didn't have that huge 100 of 60 right in the middle, and that's what has won
true.
Australia both games, and that's where you sort of got to look to Goldie, like. Where is that? Why are you scoring a runner ball 89?
The second game was very
Like,
interesting
not
because
really
I felt
good.
like Collie was trying to go hard, but at the same time he was trying to take it deep. Like he's trying to do both at the same time,
Yeah, you
which was
gotta.
just so hard because like I remember like a couple overs he'd hit like a big four at the start of the
yeah,
over.
that's the problem when you lose like early wickets, because Smith would come in at like 160, 140.
Yeah, but like he comes in at 1 for 60. It's not that early. He came in outside,
Yeah, but
and
getting
half time,
coming in at
overs.
160 and then 60 is a bit of a difference.
I guess. But
And also because they got the first 16 5-0 as well, so
that's
he's
true.
still in
Yeah,
that
good
over.
point. But like a runner ball 90, it's like he had to try and play.
Like, it was about par. Like, he wasn't poor, but it was like a par.
But obviously you can say if he batted longer, he wasn't going to continue like that. Like
Yeah, but I mean
he just got out trying to go harder.
Like, there's no doubt that Cole's innings is worse than Smith's will.
Everyone knows
Yeah.
it wasn't his best, but I still think it's harsh to say like he didn't. Okay, he didn't perform, but like he wasn't like batting for himself, even though it looks like it maybe on the outside. Shreyas Iyer, I think, was probably more aggressive and he got out. But I'm still happy with the batting. I think the third game was kind of weird the way Rahul and Iyer flopped a bit. Actually, I want to talk about Shreyas Iyer. He hasn't never got out to spin, except for Zampa. Has an 80 strike rate against Zampa. Been out twice. All the other spinners, 120 strike rate, doesn't get out. 200 plus runs. Like, is Zampa just really good?
I don't know. I think he's just bowling really well at the moment. I don't know. It's quite weird. Yeah, his control right now and the pace he's bowling is pretty good. Yeah.
The funny thing, no matter like Collie scores runs, there just always seems to be someone who can get him out. Like before was Amper, Richardson, now Hazelwood. So even when he gets runs, he still seems beatable. That's the thing.
Well, there's something wrong with your mic. Like, we can't hear anything you're saying.
I don't know why. Also, I must say that one of the best 33s I've seen from Shubman Gill.
Nice.
Anyway, you guys have anything to add?
All right.
I was just gonna say, how good has Josh Hazelwood been this series? I think he's really bowled fantastically.
I called that as well. I think he's great. I saw.
Did you hear Nathan Lyon on commentary? He's like, out of the 3+ balls we have, I reckon Josh Hazelwood's the best.
I honestly think that is true.
Yeah, like low key. Yeah, because he's always there. He's always.
Yeah, test matches he's always just solid.
His Cummins and Stark have on and off days, but Hazelwood's always there.
He just hits the same spot over and over again, like people say, and it works. And he was digging into them so well in the first game, and it he can mix it up when he has to as well. And like, you gotta now question he wasn't actually injured for the World Cup, yet they rested him because they thought he wasn't that important. You gotta question that now, considering just how good he is. Like, how much did we suffer from having to bowl Berendorf and Coulter-Nile as the third bowler in the World Cup, and we could have had
Yeah.
like our best three bowlers, and they're our best three bowlers in all formats.
I reckon he's even better in England as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna say some stuff about Hazelwood. So averages 21 against Williamson, 25 against De Villiers, 9 against Root, 8 against Kohli. He's got them. He's got like the Williamson, Kohli, Root out like 6 times, 8 times. He's only played against Kohli a few times, and he always does well. And
yeah.
Also, we know about his great record against Umla and Tests as well. Like, he just performs against the good guys.
Yeah, gets big wickets always.
That's
And the
the
great
thing.
thing is he's going to get to prove himself in the T20s now. I've always thought Hazelwood is a great T20 bowler, and he's going to now that
he's going to play for sure.
he's going to play. So
I think the only thing Stark and Cummins have on him is batting. Like, other than that, he's much better than that.
He did once score 200 for Tamworth though.
Hazelwood, yeah, yeah. Yeah, even at the end of the third game, I had a feeling that Natarajan might bowl short term, not knowing that that's his favorite shot, and he'll have a few balls.
Yeah.
Was there any performances that were underwhelming from what we were expecting, apart from Rahul's innings and
I
Stark,
said
really?
underwhelming players would be Chahal and Rahul for India. So in terms of what I expected, like those were the two big ones. I question whether Bumrah and Cummins would do well, and they didn't do that well.
Yeah.
I guess I thought Iyer would be a bit better. And I thought that Indian openers. I thought Agarwal actually. Agarwal was one I thought could have a good series. He was pretty disappointing.
Like he was good at this. Like he was good when he was in, and then he just got himself out every
Good
time.
against Stark bowling trash for 3 overs. Yeah.
I think with Agarwal, obviously he's not going to keep the spot because Rohit Sharma. But like, it's always so competitive for Indian openers in white ball cricket. I don't think he'll ever really have a proper spot in the team.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was going to say Shreyas Iyer. The nature of the Indian public and pundits is that now they're going to criticize him, and the classic number 4 spot could be.
The thing is, if he performs in T20s, then it will take a bit of pressure off him. Even though the formats are different, you know what I mean? Like the fact that he's scoring runs is that won't matter as much.
Maybe.
Yeah. India's certainly going to want to keep him there. They don't want to have to go back to another number 4 problem. They really want that to be sorted. So I reckon
he's a quality, like
the best player.
In that innings that he played, even though he had problems with the short balls, like he looked like decent. So
I think in the long term, like over Manish Pandey is probably the alternative, or maybe like Sanju Samson or something. Like I think he's always a better option.
The thing with Iyer, though, I think they'll probably maybe looking for him in Test as well, especially now Kohli's not there. But I think the short ball problem is just too big for it now.
Yeah, he won't be able to play Tests if
he's gonna have to deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think it's better off to just have him at home and then let him build from there, rather than debut.
I think in some ways it was a bit naive. He's like saying, well, he was overwhelmed that Australia actually thought of a plan for him. Like, what were you?
What does that even mean?
Like,
to be fair, it's actually funny the way he backs away. Sometimes it looks like that looks so bad, but when it works, it's like, oh, that's a good shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Gill looked very textbook compared to him. 3 of them bat very similar. Kohli, Iyer, Gill.
They're all like really technical. That's really it. Like the standard sort of like Asian player, subcontinental player.
One player that I had doubts about more was batting. Was Jadeja. His first game.
To be fair, he had a really good IPL with the bat.
First game he had 9-10. Second game only faced 10 balls. Third game he showed he can build innings.
Yeah.
I think
the bat was impressive. So was Pandya.
Before I said I had doubts about Washington. I mean about him over Washington Sundar, but I guess he's probably got that.
His bowling
is average though.
Yeah, it was just average. It was just never impressive. Like it wasn't the worst, but it was.
He never looks like
better than Chahal.
wicket taking option. He's just more like a container. And You could
Yeah,
argue nowadays that you can't afford to just be that player.
yeah. I mean,
Unless you bat number 6, but like, nah.
at the same time, like if the Pacers can get early wickets, then it's a different story, you know. So
Like that Finch wicket, he would never get that in the first innings. Finch would never feel to like just play that shot. But in the pressure of a chase, he has to try and get a 6. Gets out.
yeah.
Also, was it just me or was India's fielding like really bad this series?
Very, very bad.
Like it was just shocking.
One thing I read online is kind of funny. I think Shikhar Dhawan thinks more about his celebration than the catch. Like
He's put so many chances, like half a dozen, I reckon.
because of Dhawan, the third game, Bumrah went this whole year without taking a power play wicket, or first 10 wicket.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty poor. I think that you could say that's always going to be the difference between Australia and India. Even as good as India are nowadays, Australia is always way better at fielding.
Just as the general intensity and body language, I think Australia were much more impressive. I mean, Australia fielded quite badly in the first game, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it improved a lot. And like there were just moments where it was like, you know, Darwin doing his big celebration for a catch where it's like you're 2 for 250 after like 35 overs. Like why? What is this? This
Even
isn't fun.
Jadeja
It should be
missing run out.
Jadeja.
Kohli misfielded a lot. Strange.
Yeah, Kohli didn't feel that well at all. Neither did Jadeja, really. They were
It
just
makes you think, kind of what made me think, I guess, like these guys have been 2 weeks quarantined together. Australia's been split in half. Surely they'd have the better harmony, unless they've been training for tests or something. We'll see. We'll see.
Like
like
it's hard to say, like the reasons why they fielded badly. Yeah, I just think the intent, like what we were saying was, I think I agree with. The intensity on India's part wasn't quite there compared to Australia. Australia had a lot more, even with the bat, I feel like Australia had a much better approach and a lot more energy and sort of plan about what they were doing. Like India, they would go hard at times and turn it back and look deep, like what Kohli, you're saying about Kohli's innings, Arjun. Like he'd look to go big and then take it deep at the same time. I feel like that was India's whole approach to the whole series. While Australia had a set plan, start and executed well.
I think this goes back to Will's previous point last video that Kohli has become a simp. He's not.
yes.
The old Kohli was way more aggressive. What happened?
In summary, yes.
Why are India so passive now? Like,
Yeah.
you know who's aggressive and played well? Shardul Thakur. Yeah,
Yes.
Rikas for no reason, and it worked. He kept bowling well.
And I will say, Thakur should have played the whole series. I said that from the beginning. He was better than Sony. I don't know why he was left out.
The way Thakur
Especially
bowls,
after the first game, I don't know why.
he tries to bowl like a different delivery every single ball, Thakur.
Yeah.
But I guess sometimes it's okay. He actually swung the ball more than any Indian bowler as well. I thought.
Bumrah and Shami aren't really swing bowlers. Oh no, Shami is, but Bumrah really isn't.
Bumrah does swing it both ways, but
Not much.
harder in one day.
And I was just going to say, talking about the fielding, like India had some serious run-out chances like we were getting Finch or Warner early in both of the first 2 games that they just missed. And it was Kohli and Jadeja that were missing those chances as well. Like, think of how different the series could be. Like, there was times Finch was way short and it was just an easy missed direct hit. Like, those games could have been so different if you get Smith in way earlier. And it's just those like half chances that India just couldn't, like, never took at any point in the series.
I guess you usually say, half chance is not a big deal, but that's all the chances they had.
Yeah, that was the only chances of getting Finch and Warner out in those partnership were those running mishaps. And there were a few in both innings. There really were.
To be fair, in that second game, I reckon if they didn't run Warner out, he could have gone and scored a double ton the way he was batting.
Definitely. Yes, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And that
I
heat
think that was
just
that was the easiest 50 I've ever seen. That second game, Warner.
He was creaming at me. Like it was just like Smith, pretty much. Like there's no doubt in my mind that it was
off
double
so
ton.
slow, and like usually there'd be pressure on him, but Warner was just batting so well. It's not fair at all.
Just imagine if they missed that run out going for 2 there, and then it's just the Warner Smith partnership. That would have been ridiculous. They would have hit more than 400. It would have been a crazy partnership.
I don't know if you guys remember the run out. Like Jadeja's like sticking his foot in the air, like he wasn't even trying to go for it. It was just a direct hit. They got lucky.
Yeah. I think Jadeja thought it was hitting, but anyway. I was just going to ask, in terms of Australia, do you think there's any things they could improve on coming out of the series?
There's no large issues. There's no holes. I feel.
I think the biggest issue, which wasn't exposed, is what happens if there's early wickets, but we didn't get to see it obviously because Carey, Maxwell, Stoinis / whoever bat very differently if they're facing 30 overs between
It
them.
kind of, to an extent, showed in the last game,
In the last game for sure. I don't.
but
The-
Finch scored 75.
But,
So
like the last game,
Why
we had
did Marnus
Henry
open the batting?
Green left 4 and 5. We didn't
Yeah.
see our proper middle order testing.
yeah,
Why did Marnus open the batting? Like, it makes no sense to me. It's like the same as India, right? Rohit's not there, so they don't think to put Rahul up. They're like, we'll keep him where he is and we'll put
I
someone.
know. I honestly thought it was just to get Marnus, but yeah, it doesn't make sense. Marnus to bat
You don't
more
get a chance.
the test,
Unbelievable.
Doesn't make sense at
but
all.
it doesn't make sense for like long-term ODI.
Well, it's because they wanted Green to play, and they needed someone to go up and open. Like,
Yeah, but
I would have
it
argued
could have been
Carey.
Carey. Yeah.
Wade, even Darcy
Or
Short.
Wade. Yeah.
Yeah, or Short, but like Short's not like a one-day opener. Wade is.
Yeah.
One thing, one thing, obvious question for Australia is, what do you do if Stark keeps bowling like this?
Yeah.
He's really poor. That's a tough one to think about.
Well, the thing is, okay, you compare Stark and Bumrah. I feel at times in the third game, for example, Bumrah bowled well. He was just a bit unlucky. But Stark sometimes didn't even look like he was putting in the right areas.
Like Stark's only in the team for his new ball bowling and for picking up, like cleaning up the tail. If you're not going to bowl well with a new ball, you're not going to get a place in the team for very long.
The thing is, Abbott wasn't crash shot either, so I guess
That's the thing, because Stark's been in the team so long and he's been our number one ODI bowler for an extended period of time. Like, they're gonna like back him for a bit. Like, it will be a while until they drop him.
Well, they could go back to the old thinking and just he doesn't play ODIs. When the World Cup comes, he's back on the team.
I mean, at the moment, if he was fit, Jai Richardson would be such a better alternative for Australia right now. Like, it was a shame the only alternatives we had were Abbott and Sams. If we had Richardson and Berendorf fit, like it's.
Yeah, they must.
Well, that's the thing. Was Stark rested in the third game? Was he dropped? Was it a bit of both? You reckon?
Probably a bit of both, yeah.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think Stark and Shami will probably be rested a bit in the 2020s.
Yeah, Stark might still have the injury problem for all we know.
Yeah.
Finch said he was fine, but who knows?
Like both teams are really looking ahead to the test. They do want to rest their paces a lot.
Yeah.
Especially Boomer and Shami, like coming off IPL, coming off one day is like I don't see why they'd bother bowling them too much.
Natarajan and Thakur looked good enough.
Yeah.
Natarajan got smashed a little bit, but I guess he's there to close the game off.
Realistically,
as a T20 bowler is the thing.
Realistically, going off the ODIs, it will be a batting game anyway. So all the scores will be over 180, 190.
T20s are very different. You can never really tell. The big
By and
question,
large, like the wickets do make a difference. The fact that Smith could easily blaze 100 off 62. I know he's an absolute freak, but like with that sort of ease, it tells me that.
Yeah, I was going to say one thing about the Australia batting. I think it's like our top order looks so good. Our top four. The only one problem I have with the top four is Marnus doesn't look like he can score that fast at the death. I think he's got to work a lot on improving
in the second game.
T20 side of the game. Like, because there were times where it was a bit of a problem right at the end where Marnus just couldn't score that fast.
It's okay if he's in with someone like Maxwell, but if he's in with someone like Carey who like him, then we've got a bit of an issue.
Marnus is so good for that number 4 role, but he can't, like Sean Marsh and Hanscom, the people we've had there in the past, can score fast at the end. Marnus, I think he needs to. I mean, the thing is, he doesn't get to play Big Bash. That's probably one reason why he doesn't get to work on his like sort of part of his game at all. I'd love to see Marnus try. Like, he just doesn't really have the power. He gets caught at deep mid on a mid off a lot.
Because what's safe for Marnus is I don't think there is a big threat to him because Wade and Short are more top order, and Enriquez.
The thing is, if he keeps scoring 50+ scores every game, they're not going to drop him.
I'm not saying he should be dropped. He should just work on his power game a bit better.
I'm saying there's no one else that can play like that anyway. Like, he's got the time to try and improve his game.
Yeah.
Last thing I'd say for India, I think this series shows how important is that Pandya has to bowl, because in a one-day team nowadays you have to have six bowlers.
Yeah.
And people are saying, I saw this thing, India, their team isn't deep enough on batting and isn't deep enough on bowling, which you could sort of argue is true. And
I
that's
don't know about the batting.
the batting obviously changed because Jadeja and Pandya batted so well. But if it went to 8, there was no way. I think this is, we said it before, that India needs just a batter who can just bowl a little bit. If you can bowl a little bit, you're going to get in that top 4. Because as well as I has done, it's such a luxury for them.
Yeah. In Australia, targeted India just like I said they were going to, just like we sort of knew they were going to. They're going to attack the third pacer and they're going to attack Chahal, and it did it and it worked, and that's what got them those huge scores. Sani and Chahal were just like they just couldn't
And
deal with
India
it.
didn't look to target Stoinis and Enriquez at all, which was kind of dumb on
I mean,
their.
Henriquez bowled really well, I thought. I think there was another reason why we didn't go as well in the third game. They just decided they were going to bowl Green a bit instead of bowling Henriquez, which would have probably been better.
Even though Green wasn't good, like he was bowling 140, like
He was alright. And also Maxwell bowling a bit. Like I don't know why Henriquez only got one over at the end. That was a bit weird. So we actually talked for 40 minutes about the one day. Should we go into the T20s?
all right. I guess to get us in the mood, I'll just say some stats then. All right, so these two teams, T20s is not a huge sample, but yeah, they've played 20 times. The score is 11-8 to India with 1 washout. However, Australia won 4 of the last 6. And also, India have never lost a 2020 series in Australia.
How many have they played?
Like 4, like 3. There's been like 3 1-alls and like 1 3-0.
Right, okay.
Kohli averages 79.25 in Australia, strike rate of 145. He's the top run scorer of all time in 2020. Second is Rohit Sharma. However, I still think we all agree that biggest player would be KL Rahul in 2020.
Suppose.
The 3 of the top 4.
Well, going off his ODI series, it's hard to say.
Well, I think you go off the IPL, not the ODI series.
Yeah.
Well,
3 of the
like,
top 4
yeah.
all-time averages. Sorry, Kohli, Pandey, and Iyer are in there after Babar Azam. Obviously, Glenn Maxwell is looking to build on his great form, maybe silence some more IPL doubters. If you remember the last time these two played, he scored a match-winning 113 of 55.
Yeah.
Which is great. He's the 3rd highest 2020 strike rate of all time, of 158. I was basically first, because the person who's in first is from Kuwait. And second is WA's Tim David, who plays for Singapore.
Yeah. The Hurricanes, Tim David, is what you meant to say.
I couldn't remember which Big Bash team he played for.
You just moved.
Obviously, no Warner, bit of a miss. He averaged 287 last summer in 2020s.
Great. I'm sure he did. Yeah. Was that wasn't the series with? No, it was before that. No.
With Pakistan and Sri
Been
Lanka.
got out once.
Just the not out.
Obviously, great opportunity for Short and Wade. However, Smith was also great last summer, and it'll be great to see if he can bat like that in 2020s. And Finch is ranked number 3 in the world. Spin bowling is huge in 2020 internationals, apparently. Top 7 bowlers are all spinners, including Agar at 3, Zampa at 6. 8th, interestingly, in the world is Kane Richardson. And in the top 24, there's also Stark Cummins and Billy Stanlake. So Australia have got some bowling strength there. And you feel India would have to rely on Bumrah and Chahal, who have previously been number 1 and 2 ranked in the world. And then, bit of context, Monaco Oval has the highest ever BBL run rate for a place that's hosted more than 1 game, which is 8.
Hosted like 5.
Yeah, I guess some other stadiums have only hosted 1, like Coffs and stuff.
You used to have all the finals actually.
But yeah, those are some stats. Some of them rankings aren't the biggest indicator of skill, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Should we go into predicted lineups?
Should we? Yeah, I think like lots of it's going to be sort of expected, but there'll be some good discussion there.
So Indian openers is
I
What
guess
do you guys have
India's-
to say about Indian openers?
Thing is, we've done an Indian episode on the
Yeah.
T20 team.
So do we just want to bypass that and go to
Yeah,
Australia?
it'll be Rahul and Darwin, right?
The only thing I'd
Yeah.
say about India, I don't think Shami will play. I think they'll do Chahal, Natarajan, and Bumrah.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm kind of tempted to say Sanju Samson play. I just want to see him.
Over Manish Pandey.
Maybe Samson and Pandey over Aya, maybe.
I don't think that'd be good for the team, but it'd be fun to see. Yeah,
I reckon I
I'm
will
a
have to
Register
play all
fan. I don't
three.
trust
I will
Samson
play
that much.
all T20s.
I think if Samson plays, he'll do badly.
Maybe, yeah. But I think it would be great to see Pandey play, I guess.
Yeah.
Is there? Do you reckon any chance Washington Sundar plays?
Maybe over Chahal, if Chahal stuff.
Yeah,
could
I
see
was
them
thinking
picking
that.
Jadeja at one point.
Because you think that they keep Jadeja now because he proved he can bat. But in T20s, you also the thing is Sundar would open the bowling. That's why I think he's better. But yeah, Jadeja showed he could bat.
To be fair, Deepak Chahar and Washington Sundar opening the bowling isn't that bad if you think about it.
Yeah. Bumrah and Chahal have got to stand up. They were the best bowlers in the IPL. Yeah, just hands down, they were the best bowlers in the IPL.
Might
They
say
could stand up
that
this
wicket
season.
that he got of Maxwell, maybe that might instigate a bit of form for him because that's the classic Bumrah that we know.
Maybe. I'm thinking this is going to be a big series for Maxwell, but anyway.
Should we move on to Australian lineups then?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much to talk about with India. That's sort of all of it, isn't it? So yeah,
Australian
Australia.
openers. Who have we got? Puff Finch.
I'm going to go for Wade. It's got to be Wade or Short, right?
Yep.
Like if they even mention the word Alex Carey, I don't want to hear it. I'm disgust.
Yeah.
And I've got a feeling it's going to happen as well because he opens in Big Bash.
He's not even.
No, he's batting in the
That's
middle
true.
order for
Yeah.
strikers. Yeah.
That's true because they got Salt now. I mean,
Yeah,
I
so
think
I
they're going to
think
give Wade over
Wade-
Short because Wade was in the squad already, which
Yeah.
means he's surely the priority.
I'm gonna actually say Darcy Short.
I'd be
That's
pretty
fine.
happy either way.
Either way, I feel like
I'll Wade in the middle order.
either way they're going to give you a
Like
solid
that.
performance.
Like that.
Yeah.
See, I mean, in terms of the middle order, the big thing is Stoinis a chance of being fit? That's a big question.
Well, he's not going to bowl. If he's
Is that
fit,
right?
he's not going to be able to bowl.
You
reckon?
Well, they're probably back Maxwell to bowl some overs. And I mean, if Darcy plays, he can bowl as well, of course. That's another big.
And
that's
Wade can
another
bowl.
reason to
Don't
choose.
forget Wade. Wade can bowl.
Yeah.
That's
He
true.
can
Wade.
bowl.
I could see
Everyone's
Wade bowling in the
talking-
T20s. Yeah,
They don't need him. They have 5 specialist bowlers because Agar's at 7.
that's
Yeah,
true.
but if he gets whacked, then
Yeah.
But then you just need.
we got an India problem, right?
You need 6th and 7th and 8th bowlers really.
Well, who are the 5 bowlers going to be? That's something to talk about.
Are we skipping middle order or?
Oh, sure, middle order. I mean, so Maxwell's going to be in there, right? The thing is, we just don't know about Stoinis.
I'll say mine because mine's probably different or is different.
Sure.
Smith, Maxwell, Wade, Carey. I think Carey has to be there because he keeps and that's the way they want him. But if you're gonna have another specialist batsman, because I don't think you actually need them as an all-rounder. I think Wade's probably better than Stoinis.
Oh, ESPN say Henriques.
Enriquez.
That's a big call.
He's not even He's not even that good for the Sixers in that role.
Yeah, he's not even good for it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, belly bowls.
So you'd probably Smith, Maxwell, Wade in that order. But you could even also extra left-hand option, but Maxwell is obviously going to float. But if you hypothetically, if you do lose wickets, Wade's still there to.
That's the thing. If it's not Wade or Short batting at 5,
Yeah, I think that's the question.
assuming the other one's going to open.
Is it Short or Henriques? I think that's what they're going to be choosing between.
Yeah, I was torn between Short and Wade, which order would be which, right? But I think Wade's
Well, if Short and Wade are both playing, Short would open and Wade would bat in the middle order. Just based on
open them together. Like Finch can go down
Finch
the
could
order.
just
Like
bat
there's
in
such
mid-order.
a proven batting
Finch
partnership. Finch can
has
go.
batted
When Warner
three.
comes back, Finch can go back to the top. Then let Short and Wade do their thing. It's such a good batting pair.
That would be actually jokes though. Short away, just
Right, we just
a bit off.
fit the Hurricanes team in. I think that's good enough for me. Call up Ben McDermott.
I mean, yeah, they've Dermot spot before, the number 5.
That's the thing. Like, there's been talk that someone like Will Jacks will open instead of
Harry
McDermott.
Why are you talking about Will Jacks?
I don't think he's going to open in the T20 series.
Yeah, I don't think Will Jacks will open against India. I can confirm.
No, for Hurricanes, it's just a slight tangent. You're talking about McDermott, so I was like going to chime in. And don't worry.
By the way, is Tim David allowed to play for Australia? Serious question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is? Okay.
I don't think there's any.
Isn't the same rule as Joffre?
No, it's the same rule as Owen Morgan or like.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm
Joffre's
thinking
never
something
played for
else.
Singapore. The same question for Cameron Gannon, I guess.
Can Usman Khadia still play for Australia?
Yeah, but where's Osman Kadir gone?
Playing for Pakistan after flopping in Big Bash and state cricket here. Moving to the 5. Or
Australian 5 bowlers.
Because you would have Stoinis as the batter instead of.
If he was fit, you'd have
Look at
Stoinis
his-
playing for
That's what it
sure.
depends on. Steiners will play. Like if we can have, Sinus Maxwell in there, that's great. And that's how. But then the team's just sorted. You just do Finch with one of Wade or Short. Then you got Smith, Maxwell, Sinus, and Carey with Agar 7.
I guess I just want to see something different, but I
I
guess
certainly do. Yeah.
you could argue Stoinis is better than Short, but
Well, the thing is, Short hasn't been proven, so we
I
can
think
never.
they'll definitely, if Sinus is fit, they'll definitely argue that Sinus is better than Short, considering they both had amazing big bashes, but Sinus has had a sick IPL. Like, he'll definitely be in the team if we can. Let's say Cummins and Stark are out for the whole T20s. Who are our 5 bowlers?
So Agar, Zampa, Hazelwood, Abbott.
Yeah. And Sam's, probably.
Which will be.
Well, it's not going to be Ty. Let's be real.
Watch him play. Watch Ty play.
It's actually going to be funny because Hazelwood's going to be the leader of the 2020 attack, and like he never
You could
even.
argue Abbott will be, to be honest. He's a great T20 bowler.
True, but international is very different.
I suppose. I mean, Abbott and Curran lead the Sixers attack. And it's a very good attack.
I'm still baffled as to how Ty is there.
I think it's because no one else could get there quickly. I think that's sort of about the quarantine because they were all in Adelaide from the Shield, and Ty doesn't play Shield is the thing.
Oh.
So I think he was just around, and they went for someone. I seriously think that's why.
Should have been Gurinder Sandhu. He wasn't playing Shield.
They prioritized getting the players in the squad from Adelaide to Sydney, but anyone else that was close wasn't going to rush back just in case. So it was just like, you got to pick someone that doesn't play Shield. Who else did you say?
Gurinder Sandhu.
I think they're picking Ty before him. Ty still had an IPL contract.
They could have picked. Or James Pattinson. I think that could have been okay.
Yeah, Pattinson was around. I don't know why he wouldn't have played. But they probably wanted to rest him, I suppose.
Yeah, Pattinson and Colton played an IPL. Trying to remember if there was anyone else.
I picked no one that was from IPL and no one that was in the Shield. It's just gives you a bit tough for choice, isn't it?
Did Ellis play Shield?
Stan Lake was probably the other option.
Yeah, Stan Lake, who, like I said, he's still ranked highly in T20 internationals.
So is Ty. Isn't he?
Ty's still and Kane Richardson.
I mean, Ty had an IPL contract actually, so.
To be fair, I don't even like Kane Richardson that much in the first place.
Yeah, same.
It's good for the Renegades, the international.
It's not good for the Renegades. That's not true, really. It's just
I thought he's a bit overrated.
Yeah.
But surely, I don't know. Has Sam's made an international debut yet?
No. I don't think so.
Yeah, he should get some games. That'd be good.
I got a feeling, just based on IPL, if he doesn't get death wickets, he's gonna get smashed.
So I can see why Henriques is being considered as an option because they might be in some ways reluctant to bowl Sams, I think, and play Sams or Ty.
Yeah, but Maxwell, you'd think Maxwell would bowl the majority of those overs, like in the power play.
Well, yeah. So yeah, could you best bat Agar 8 and have 7 good batsmen there, and back like Henriques and Maxwell and something like
So
that?
Henriques, Wade, and Short in the
Maxwell
team.
might open the bowling, right?
And Wade's not actually ever going to bowl in T20s, but Short could. Like if you played Short over Wade, then surely you back Short, Maxwell and Henriques to get 3 or 4 overs together, and then play 4 specialist bowlers.
So
Yeah,
recently, Short's bowling hasn't been as good as Maxwell.
I would actually much prefer that, to be honest. Maxwell could easily bowl like 2 or 3 in the power play, and like I don't back Agar as a number 7 batsman for Australia much at all. Like he can't score that fast, and I don't back Carey that much, which means
yeah,
like
you go
6
for
or 7.
yeah, that's definitely a better side.
You
Having
bat
7
Henriques.
specialist batters.
Like Henriques bats 4, right? Like where he does in the Big Bash, and he's okay in the Big Bash. Like he's solid enough.
But so 3
Dude,
Smith.
nah, to be honest, he's not that great. If you look at his stats.
But yeah, Maxwell float is the top 3 bat long. He's been, I mean, like he's always sort of around the team in the tournaments, and he's just sort of solid.
Yeah, and then what? Wait, so 5 Maxwell, 6 Enriquez, 7 Carey.
Maxwell floating wherever. I mean, ideally we have Stoinis as well, and like I think our best T20 side does have Agar at 8, and you have Stoinis as one of the people making up.
Then you drop Carey. Like, who do you drop? Smith.
Well, no, you have Stoinis instead of one of Wade or Short. And ideally, like the best T20 side we have is no Wade or Short, and then it's Finch, Warner, Smith, Maxwell, Stoinis.
Yeah.
And then we've got our 3 main quicks.
Yeah, and then Short
Zampa
can still play. Short can still play. Yeah.
and Agar.
Instead of Wade.
I think Agar is okay at 7. Like, he hasn't really. He's sort of like a Jadeja, I guess. Like, you haven't seen him a lot. But
There has been times, in one day as well, batting 7, he's been really disappointing. And like, there's been times where we needed him to score fast and he hasn't. I remember like there was that series in India. He had a limited overs tour of India. I forgot which one it was, but there was times I thought he was pretty disappointing. He's okay in the Big Bash. It's true.
I don't know. We last year we didn't get to see because like they just smashed the 2020s. And if I remember the India tour last year when they won the series, they randomly decided to have Hanscom in the team, right, as keeper. And then but it didn't matter because Maxwell just smashed it for them.
Yeah.
I think that there was one game where they needed 14 in the last over. Richardson and Cummins got it done.
And the good thing about Sams is that he also, in some way, solidifies that batting order. He'd probably still bat 8. But I in some way, I'd actually probably have him over Agar, even though I don't think he will. Sorry?
Would you have Sams over Agar?
I mean, Agar should always play, but yes,
Batting order.
No, Agar should bat.
I would, but I don't think they will. I would have Sams at 7 because he either gets a golden duck or he scores pretty fast. Like he's very good at getting the golden duck.
Didn't they figure out that he could only score on the leg side? Wasn't that the thing?
No,
I know this will happen, but I kind of want to see a lot of wickets in this series. Just
It might happen, to be honest.
Some of those tail batting performances. A Tucker smash, Sam smash.
The thing is, the top orders are in such good form. Like the Indian top order based off that IPO with Rahul and Darwin in such amazing form. Kohli's solid. And then they got Pandya and stuff.
Okay, if you take them out of the way they bat in the one day, that's all they need really from Darwin. Like the 30 of 20 can get out. That's all right.
For this to be a low-scoring series, the bowl's going to have to be pretty amazing bowling, considering how Maxwell's been playing and how Pandya's been playing and how all the
that's what I mean. It's going to be like a 180
160, 170. I think 170 would be a good-ish pass score.
It's going to be up to Bulmer and Jahal because otherwise Australia are going to score 200 with ease.
A lot of people are saying that
same thing for Australia, really.
Death could be very important.
And yeah, I can see India hitting some 220s and stuff, considering Australia might not have Cummins and Stark. Like,
Yeah, I
Like
could
I
easily
can see, I
imagine
can see like Sam's getting targeted and Agar getting targeted and just getting whacked.
Agar and Zappa don't get wickets. It's huge on them because like obviously they've been carrying the 2020 team.
Agar's been so good, yeah. He's been our best T20 bowler so far, like recently.
Didn't he get 5 wickets right against South Africa, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Hazelwood's certainly going to be tested. As is Abbott. That's good. It's going to be
Don't
like
forget last time India.
But to be honest, all the there's a lot more pressure on the bowling from both sides than the batting.
I think
That's for
especially
sure.
players like Abbott and Sams, they could get.
I just realised India's last 2020 series they beat New Zealand 5-0. So
Yeah, that's fine. I remember that.
sometimes India just find a way to win. Even like with a couple of super overs there, they were definitely going to lose somehow. They just force it.
Yeah,
Shall we do series predictions?
sure.
Who are we
Yeah.
backing?
The same thing. One player we think will perform over expectation and one below.
Yep.
Well,
Who
what's
wants
the
to go?
expectations right now?
I feel like it's the same as the ODI series. We can go either way. So
Especially T20. Literally anything can happen.
I think India have the better T20 side. So I'm going to give it 2-1 just India.
I'll say 2-1 Australia. I'll back us. I just think we're sort of winning games at the moment. We'll see how it goes. But then again, I did say India are a better clutch side, so I feel Australia either win big or they don't. Like that's just often true.
I'm gonna say 2-1 Australia as well. I got a feeling India might win, but I'm still just gonna say Australia wins because
Our predictions are completely opposite of the one-day series.
I wouldn't be surprised if India wins, but
Yeah.
Australia, could just have a bit more about them right now.
I reckon every game will be very close. Like it'll be the last 2 overs. I don't think there'll be a big decisive game at all.
Also, the third game is going to be full stadium, so that'll be great. Well, hopefully, I think New South Wales got 1 case today. Hopefully, they keep the restrictions the same they are now.
Yeah. So in terms of expectations, for Australia, I find this very hard because I think that everyone's expected to play so well based on how we went in the one-day series. But
you could argue that makes it easier because if they only average like 30, it's not the same.
Yeah. I'll say one player I think is going to go above expectations, Wade. I'm just going to put it out there. If Wade opens, I think it'll be Wade. If
Wade opens, he's like I feel like there's an expectation, well, from us anyway, because of Big Bash, that he's going to score big.
From the public though, Wade gets a lot of crap.
So from India's point of view,
maybe,
I think Wade is a weakness.
But I also
like, to be honest, Wade is like in serious good touch. Like just look at his net sessions, like he's creaming them.
Then I also think Smith's going to have another fantastic T20 series based on how he's been going in the one days. I think Smith's going to outperform. Smith and Maxwell are going to outperform the IPL so much. I think they're going to be excellent again. And also Agar. Like I know we expect Agar to go well, but often people don't. I think Agar's going to have another good one.
That's quite a few players to perform.
And I don't know who to choose. Like there's so many.
I'll try and stick to one, I guess. To perform above, yeah, like you said, everyone is expected to perform. The whole team either has form now or Big Bash form. That's the thing. I guess I'll stick with the big man, Josh Hazelwood. I think if it's not obvious already, it'll prove he's the most adaptable, most consistent fast bowler in Australia, or even the world.
I think given across formats, there's an expectation for Hazelwood to score, like to do well. But in T20s, I think the opinion is that he hasn't been tested fully. So I think
exactly. So if he gets like 3-4 wickets, that's already pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I think he's going to go above expectations, and he's going to smash the T20 series.
Yeah, I'll stick to one. I'll try and stick to one, and it's actually one I haven't said
yet. That's the thing. Like I was just thinking, is he going to bowl to death because it's Abbott? Well, no, he won't, will he?
Obviously Sam's and Abbott.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam's.
So he's gonna be contained.
That's the only way Sam's is in the team because of his death bowling.
All like 3 overs at the end.
Different to Stark.
Yep.
I'm actually gonna say Sean Abbott. That's gonna be because I think there's everyone I've said so far, there is sort of an expectation. I'm gonna say Sean Abbott's gonna play above expectations. I see him getting some huge wickets and this being a really good T20 bowler.
The thing about it, yeah, like that could happen, but I also have a feeling like he might like get smashed. Like the
It's
way
like every
Pandya.
bowler.
I just think that's true with all of us. Yeah.
That's true of every single player in the team, like in both sides. You can
Bro, you
imagine,
can see every player in all the batters scoring a huge amount of runs.
especially
Like the
T20.
bowling, you can't really visualize any of them keeping
The
it
funny thing,
tight.
what probably will happen though, is
Except
like
Boomer.
Might get smashed, but then he might have one game where he does well. Like probably.
Yeah.
There might
And
not be consistency in this series. Like he might, yeah, like Kohli might have one good innings and two flops or something like that.
the player to go below expectations, you reckon? From each team?
But just Australia because we do India too.
No.
Tough one. I'm gonna say Zampa. I think Zampa will get whacked a bit.
I feel like Zampa's gonna do well. That's the thing.
I
Like
My
think
he
prediction.
looks so well.
I think Zampa might be brought back down to earth a little bit. Right, like he's very good, obviously, but
I feel like
maybe
someone like Finch, like he's been very ropey at times in the ODIs. Been pretty lucky, so I want to say Finch is not gonna have a great series.
it's hard with the openers because India haven't been getting those wickets.
All bold calls.
The thing with T20 is it's the batter gets themselves out like most of the time as well. So we'll see. Moving on to India then, one player for bad and good.
I think Hardik, it's a bold one. Because there'll be a time where India are like 2 wickets down, and he's required to come in the 17th over. He's expected to bomb and then scores like a, I don't know, like a runnable 10. Because they bowl one outside off stop, but he swings and misses half of them.
He literally hit like a few fours over point last time. Like,
Yeah, but it's different.
I guess you could. His back, he does seem to look a problem though. Like he seems like very tired and rigid at times. I'm gonna say KL Rahul, just because there's so much expectation on him. Like he might still like be good, maybe get like 70, 80 runs across 3 games, but that's still probably not as good as everyone thinks he'll get.
That's your below. Have you got an above?
Above, I think Chahal will redeem himself. He's probably a bit like, even though he just had a great IPL, everyone's gonna have low expectations of him than probably what he deserves. So, and I think he'll exceed those.
Okay. For above expectations, I'm gonna pick someone in the Indian middle order. It's gonna it's either Pandey or Iyer. I think they're both gonna have good T20 series. I'm gonna give it for Pandey. I'm gonna say Manish Pandey is gonna have a solid series, and I think he'll be more impressive than we thought maybe. And for my below, I'm actually
That's the
gonna say
thing. What's
Chahal.
deemed a good performance from him? I reckon.
Well, both.
I think he's gonna score fast and he's gonna score a lot of runs.
I reckon both Indian and
Okay.
Australian fans don't have many expectations about him. Like, he's just
Yeah,
kind of there.
exactly. And I think he'll be really impressive, and I think that'll do it. And for below, I know Chahal was your above. I'm actually gonna say Chahal's gonna get smashed again. He's gonna get whacked out of the attack in his first 2 overs, and yeah, I'll say Chahal below expectations, and that's based off his IPL expectations. I think he'll be much worse.
Fair enough.
Have you done your 2, Ryan, or just one?
I think I've done.
He doesn't either.
So you did above.
No, I did below for India. I said Hardik.
You said below would be Pandya.
But above, ooh. How did Natur? I didn't really watch most of the ODI, but how did Natur bowl? Like, was he executing his Yorkers and
It
stuff?
looked like he was gonna lose the game for them, and then
Okay, never mind.
but like he was okay at the end, but like that was against the tail.
He was okay.
Yeah,
but
I think going with Like, because I
Maybe
think the
not
top order is expected to score big from India. That you have to, the middle order, like if the top order collapses, I feel like the middle order might be able to do a bit of a job.
Yep.
But I think it's going to be Shreyas Iyer who might actually come through because he's shown like glimpses of him
Yeah, that was the other one I thought about going with.
scoring quick in the ODIs. So I'm going to go with him.
I think I was gonna say there'll be a lot of pressure on Taco as well. Taco and Bumrah.
Yep.
Yeah, they haven't been consistent in their Taco in his career and Bumrah this year.
Well, is the core definitely going to play? So I think he.
Oh, sorry, Deepak Chahar.
Yeah,
That's
Chahar.
very different then. That's very different. Taco's not even in the squad. Yeah, with Deepak Chahar. I guess that could be go either way as well.
Yeah, like, can Chahar bowl like he does in the IPL? I mean, the thing is, there's no Warner, which it makes it a lot easier for him. But yeah, Warner is
It's going
such
to
a
be weird
huge
because
plus
I think
for
Finch will be more conservative in the power play, but whoever he's with, like Wade, is going to
Wade will
go
play
for
just
it.
like Warner does. Yeah,
Wade
Wade
is
doesn't.
going to go for it.
One of the great things about this series is the bulk of India's team has faced all these guys the past 8 weeks, right? Before last week. So like they'll know everything about them realistically.
Like the same could be said about Australia as well.
Yeah, but then the little differentials, Wade and Enriquez could be important for them.
I am worried Wade is going to have a series of like 18 off 10s. He's just going to go big and then get out. Like it often happens when he plays for Australia.
He'll hit one massive 6 and then just
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
one massive 6
He'll
of
be
a
on
square
he'll
leg
be on
and
like
then get
3 off
out.
3 and he'll just hit one out of Monica and it'll be like, wow, Wade's playing so well. And then like he'll just whack one right up in the air to Coley at mid off, like when he's on 18 of 7.
Yeah. I like the way Wade bats, like it's kind of like he feels he has to do well.
Yeah. So it's like he's going to get 100 of 60 if he stays in. It's just he's going to go at the same rate. How long is he going to bat for is the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. So actually,
Honestly, can't wait for the
actually,
T20s. It'll be so
pumped
good.
now thinking about the 2 games we're going to well.
Yeah. Well, we've gone for an hour and 15 minutes again.
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below how you think the T20 series is going to go, and hopefully we'll be back with the test preview and review on the T20 series. So, see ya.
Yeah.
All right.